right, time to evaluate the Miami Dolphins draft big board because we know this time of year it's constantly changing. And oh, yes, this is the type of roll up your sleeves draft, make it or break it draft for Chris Grier. And taking a look at the Miami Dolphins draft board in 2024, there's a lot of positions of need to address, and there's a lot of different directions Miami can go with the assets that they have in their current draft capital. Because when you think about where this team has been in the past as far as draft capital, this is a welcome sight in 2024 because they've got a first-round pick. How about that? Exceptional stuff. There's a couple of picks missing from the Miami Dolphins because of the trade with Bradley Chubb. But overall, this is draft capital that the Miami Dolphins can make the most of. So, as we look to what this team has, you see they got the number 21 overall pick and then the 23rd selection in the second round, which equates to the 55th overall pick. They forfeited that round 3 pick. Thanks a lot for the tampering. Not good. Round 4, don't have a pick there either because that was traded in the Bradley Chubb deal. Then they're back on the board in round 5 with the 23rd selection, which is 156 overall, and 2 in round 6. Remember, that was part of a trade as well. And then in round 7, they've got the 21st selection, 238 overall. So 6 total picks in 2024. And we look back to what Chris Grier did in 2023. A couple of swings and misses, if we're being honest, but also a home run pick in the 3rd round there with the star rookie running back Devon Achane. Really the only pick that salvaged this draft for Chris Grier. So a lot on the table, as there always is when it comes to the NFL draft. And because only one of those picks worked out from a year ago, and maybe Cam Smith will work out. Maybe he will. With the new defensive coordinator, new system, this, that, and the other, maybe he gets an opportunity. But right now, the only pick from 2023 that worked out is Devon Achane. And so because of that, I think it's important for Chris Grier and the front office to really lock it in, dial it in, and obviously that's pointing out the obvious, but they got to come through in the 2024 draft. They have to learn from their mistakes they made last year and be ready to go in 2024. And so when you think about that, you got to start to think as a fan, what's your confidence level in Chris Grier and company? So let me know down in the comments. Scale it for me, 1 through 10, your confidence level in the general manager, Chris Grier's drafting ability. He's shown some hits, but he's also shown some misses. So let me know what that confidence level is down in the comments. Scale it for me, 1 through 10. Now, I think because Chris Grier has hit on a couple of draft picks, and maybe Cam Smith will in fact turn out, I think I'm not ready to close the book on Chris Grier the way some people are. I still have moderate confidence in him. Let's say a 5 right down the middle, but I'll say it again. This is a make it or break it year for Chris Grier to prove that he has the ability to draft meaningful impact players that make contributions from day one. Because we're seeing in the NFL, that's how you build teams. You get the players on those cheaper rookie deals that can be substantial impact players on the field as first-year players, second-year players, third-year players, and so on and so forth, and you build that young core through the draft. So hopefully Chris Grier is able to do that. Now, coming up, we've got a CBS Sports first-round mock draft to get into. We'll also mock a second-round pick as well for you. But first, guys, I got to tell you about these Fanatics Dolphins gear. I know it's the offseason, but the NFL Jam t-shirts never go out of style. I picked one up the other day. They are awesome, and we've got a special code, special link for you that we'll put in the comments and description of today's video, so you can use that Chat Sports code for us. But I'm telling you, whether it be the new school NFL Jam t-shirts or the old school ones are timeless as well with the NFL Blitz Dan Marino t-shirt, you got to snag one for yourself at Fanatics, the best and one-stop shop for exclusive Miami Dolphins gear. Now, CBS Sports Mock Draft. It's important, again, to, obviously, I'm telling you what you already know, but this is a mock draft. This is one guy's opinion. Josh Edwards, who writes for CBS Sports, has Troy Fautanu out of Washington going to Miami at the number 21 overall pick. Now, if you've been following us all offseason, you know we've done a couple of mock drafts already, and Troy Fautanu is a guy's name that keeps coming up. And why not? He played extremely well the past season at Washington, who, if you don't follow college football, you probably still know that Washington made it all the way to the national championship game before losing to Michigan. And they had a tremendous offense with Michael Penix Jr., a load of wide receiver weapons, including Rome Odunze. And regardless of how good your skill players are, you got to have the offensive linemen. And Troy Fautanu anchored that Washington offensive line. He was a third-team All-American selection. But what's also telling about his abilities is what Mel Kiper, the draft expert, had to say about Troy Fautanu, saying he allowed 2 career sacks on nearly 1,250 pass blocking snaps. That's a pretty good percentage. It wouldn't shock me if a team drafted Fautanu to play tackle, but I see all-pro upside for him at guard. So it's kind of a luxury to draft a guy that has the versatility to play multiple positions. And when you look at his Pro Football Focus grades as a tackle for Washington in 2023, overall 75, but that pass blocking grade is impressive, 88.2. The run blocking can improve, of course, but this is a team that threw the ball all the time. Over 70% of the snaps from Washington were passing the football, and he only allowed 2 sacks. That is incredible stuff. And when you think about the positional needs for the Dolphins, offensive line is certainly at the top of the list because this is a Dolphins offensive line that was banged up all season long. And when you start to think about where this Dolphins front office can plug and play a little bit with the draft picks, offensive line is an important spot to be in because the Dolphins are expected to be around over $40 million over the cap. So it's important to start plugging those rookie deals in with impact players that can make meaningful contributions, starting with that 21st overall pick in the draft. And who knows, maybe you go offensive line in the draft and then you have the ability to say goodbye to guys like Connor Williams, Robert Hunt, guys that are free agents on the offensive line because you've replaced them with viable players on the offensive line through the draft. But that's just one potential strategy. Now, you look at the Dolphins' offensive line. They were banged up all season long. They have 12 different starting combinations. And as I mentioned, Robert Hunt and Connor Williams are both free agents. So who's to say if they'll be back or not? And in a lot of ways, the Dolphins' offensive line overperformed or outperformed some of their expectations. But one area, they were not great in the pass block win rate. You see that? 31st in the NFL out of 32 teams in pass block win rate. That needs to improve, and Troy Fautanu could be a guy to help him do just that. Now, also, other options for the Miami Dolphins at offensive line or just prospects from the offensive line. We've talked about Jackson Powers Johnson, the guard center out of Oregon. J.C. Latham is another guy that a lot of draft experts have mocked to Miami in that first round. And don't forget about Talise Fuaga out of Oregon State. He's an offensive tackle that showed great athleticism for his size. And Jordan Morgan, an offensive tackle from Arizona, also very athletic for his size as well. But for me, I think your top 2 candidates there are Jackson Powers Johnson or Troy Fautanu. Both guys, to me, scream first-round talent. They scream versatility, athleticism, plug-and-play guys on the offensive line. And if last year's any indication, there's a lot of times where offensive linemen will be called to play different positions. So having that ability to cross-train, whether it be Liam Eichenberg playing center or stepping in at guard, whatever it may be, there were times where Dolphins offensive linemen had to play multiple spots on that O-line. So both Fautanu and Jackson Powers Johnson have proven they have the ability to do so. But you be the GM with me for a second. Who's your pick for the Dolphins in the first round? Let me know down in the comments. Would love to hear what you have to say on this one. Now, I want to get into our second round mock draft. Before we do that, it's important to note that the Miami Dolphins, again, have that second round pick, and it's also important to note that with that second round pick, you can't miss because there's no pick in the third round as of now, and there's no pick in the fourth round. So crucial to get that second round pick correct. Now, Pro Football Focus came out with a 5-round mock draft by Trevor Sikkema, and he had Jackson Powers Johnson falling all the way to the Dolphins at 55, which to me would be a dream scenario. I don't think that's going to happen. I really think Jackson Powers Johnson will be selected before the second round. I think he's a first-round talent, but we'll know more after the scouting combine and, of course, the Senior Bowl as well. But if he falls all the way to pick number 55 and the Dolphins can swoop him up there, I'm all for it. Now, Dane Brugler of The Athletic saw the Dolphins going in a different direction. He had them taking Edgerrin Cooper, an athletic outside linebacker, edge rusher type from Texas A&M in the second round with the 55th pick overall. And based on the injury bug at the defensive end edge rusher position for the Dolphins, maybe shoring up that component of the depth chart would be important. Jalen Phillips having a breakout year. He was one of the Dolphins' last first-round picks. In fact, the Dolphins' last 2 first-round picks are Jalen Phillips and Jalen Waddle. So they've kind of hit 2 home runs there. Bradley Chubb also has been a great defensive edge player. After coming over from Denver, he was having a breakout season before he got hurt. Andrew Van Ginkel's a free agent, so question mark there, but we know he improved his level of play as well. So maybe Edgerrin Cooper could be added to the edge roster in the second round of the draft, because this Dolphins defense thrived when they were able to get pressure on the opposing quarterbacks last year in 2023. In fact, they finished with the 3rd most sacks and the 2nd best sack rate in the NFL. So if Edgerrin Cooper is the guy and can help that, I'm also for that as well. But I want to know what you think. Do you want the Dolphins to go offense or defense, O or D, in the second round? If it's an offensive player you want, type O. If you want them to switch back to the defensive side of the ball, type D. Either way, let me know down in the comments. And as I stated, my opinion is we'll know more after the Senior Bowl that's going on right now. And, of course, the scouting combine, where we learn a lot more about how these players can test out and, of course, perform the various tests at the combine. And I think as that starts to go on and progress, we start to narrow our focus as the Dolphins and determine who will be the best player to fit the aqua and orange in the first and second round, and every pick for that matter. So, as always, we want to continue to grow here on Dolphins Today, and we've experienced all kinds of tremendous growth throughout the season. That's a testament to each and every one of you, but as we do here at Chat Sports, we're setting up a goal to go even further. We're getting lackadaisical or complacent. In fact, we're striving for more, so help us reach our goal that we've set, 58,000 subscribers by the end of February. Tell a Dolphins friend. I know you guys have a lot of friends out there, and if you've already subscribed, thank you. But tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a sibling, cousin, aunt, uncle, whatever it is. We want to continue to see our channel grow, because the more subscribers, the more Dolphins content, the more live shows, and covering the aqua and orange from every angle is our passion here on Dolphins Today. So subscribe to the channel, and let's continue to grow.